Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, talk a little, lightweight news around those weights down there, right? Pound for pound. Your boy Devin Haney, what is he, WBC champ down in lightweight division, right? The real WBC champ in lightweight division. Um, he's in the news a little bit. Uh, might be fighting Gary Russell Jr. Now, I've been catching wind that Gary Russell Jr. has been doing a lot of talking lately. He was pushing up on Terrence Crawford, and he was talking with several fighters, and he messed around and said Devin Haney's name, and messed around and got a contract sent to him, with his terms, basically the terms of the fight, not necessarily the contract. So, and it's on him right now. And that's very interesting to see because when you talk to Devin Haney, certain people you just don't call. You be talking to everybody list the names, and one of them just call you back. And so that's funny. So, my point, I'm just looking at Devin Haney right now. He should be climbing everybody's pound for pound list, right? He should be climbing that list. This guy's 21 years old and, he's trying to fight whoever, right? And I'm not just worrying about what's going on with Gary Russell right now, right? But Gary Russell does seem froggy, wants to fight some people right now. And Gary Russell is an awesome fighter. He's only lost to Lomachenko, right? That's it. And that wasn't a blowout either. So he's in the house, and he's some kind of issues in that fight with Lomachenko. But we won't go there because you don't want to get into the issues all the time, right? Be called an excuse. But Gary Russell's all that. He's an awesome fighter, and he wants to fight a lot of people. So basically, Devin Haney done called his bluff, and it's on from Devin Haney's side to see what Gary Russell says now. But bottom line is, it don't seem like Gary Russell's too much even in a rush. Like we say, you know what I mean? He ain't in a rush. And if you combine that to the fact that Lomachenko wasn't in a rush, right? Lomachenko's considered the top pound, the top three in most people's book, or even my book, about the top 5 or 6, right? So he's in the top 10. Lomachenko's in the top 10 regardless of who you are, right? And Lomachenko didn't want to fight this 21-year-old. He asked for a franchise belt, which people don't know or not familiar. It's just a new belt they made for Canelo, so he didn't have to fight Charlo when Charlo was his mandatory. So Devin Haney was the mandatory of Lomachenko, and they didn't. He didn't want to fight Devin Haney, so he asked for the franchise belt, got it, and so he can fight Teofimo Lopez in a fight that's not undisputed because the real champion is Devin Haney. Now, when you people go through lengths to not do stuff, then you know something is up, right? Now, so when I'm listening, like my pound for pound, it's a lot of people that I talk about the Negro leagues in boxing. There's a Negro league. There's fighters that they just refuse to give the opportunities to do what they're going to do and be great. The Lewis the Real King Kong's Ortiz, Lewis the Real King Kong Ortiz, Lewis Ortiz. Yeah, he's one of them. Guillermo Rigondeaux, one of them. Demetrius Andrade, one of them. Devin Haney, one of them. Even Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford is people are talking about him right now, but he's been undisputed, which makes him back off with Alexander Usyk together. Back off. But at the same time, Terrence Crawford really wants everybody, right? And he's trying to get belts right now. And he had Pacquiao in the not in a rush line for 4 or 5 years. Now, when we say Pacquiao, it's very significant because who else is Pacquiao not wanting to fight? From 154 down to 126. Who wouldn't Manny Pacquiao fight? Right? The list is basically nobody except Terrence Crawford. And if people hone in on that, then they will understand what Terrence Crawford means. For the last 4 or 5 years, or let's say last 3.5, 4 years, no Terrence Crawford. For sure. When he was at top rank. I should go 4 or 5. For a long period of time, you get props for that. So when I make my pound for pound list, I personally factor in things like that. It's not like a casual fan list of what people are telling us we have these fighters to choose from. It's fighters, you choose about the negotiations you saw, people who are avoiding other people. Undisputed, for example, is very, very important. If somebody's that, they're in the pound for pound automatically because people are not trying to do that. People that are in bad decisions against great fighters and, and then they go do on other things, and they would get points for things like that. Doping, a lot of people that dope people on my list. The only one probably on my list would be this dope was Louis the Real King Kong Ortiz, right? Ortiz will probably crack my top 10, Reason why is like, man, he ain't got no belts. Well, how you gonna be in front of Joshua and Wilder and can't be in front of Wilder? Wilder beat him twice. But Joshua Tyson Fury can't really be in front of him, right? But I understand that they do not want to fight this guy. We just saw what happened with Dillian White. We understand that Ortiz was going to do the same damn thing. That's why Dillian White never wanted to fight him. You're talking about avoiding Tyson Fury, Dillian White, and Joshua will not fight Ortiz. And I know that through the years. That's points. It's not just like, oh, he didn't fight anybody. That would be your own list. That would be mine from, paying attention to what's going on. My observation, that guy is something. And Guillermo Rigondeaux going down there is absolutely ridiculous. Everybody ran. Every single body ran. Right? Everybody. He's like one loss and went up 2.5, 3 the damn weight division to fight Lomachenko, and that's the only loss. And people still don't want to fight him to today. That's ridiculous. Right? You know, these guys have had some unprecedented avoiding with Demetrius Andrade together, but he's documented in damn near every video I talk about. We know Canelo was never going to fight him ever. Why would that be? You know what I mean? So those are people that you would consider. So those are always, I call them the Negro leagues because we know that they're as good as the other league, but they don't get the opportunity. That's exactly what the Negro leagues are, and that's what that is. Right? We can call it something else. They got the WBO championship and the WBC championship, which they're trying to call regular with Charlo. Negro leagues. We're not letting you fight these couple of guys. You're not fighting Canelo nor Golovkin, because if you do, we can't call them the best anymore. That simple. That's what's happening. So we can talk around as much as we want, but that's exactly what it is. So I'm just saying, when somebody don't want to fight somebody like Devin Haney, he has to climb up the list. You got to imagine. Gary Russell is also was asking for $2 million to fight him. Now you got to imagine that fight between Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez is a bigger fight, right? But for almost undisputed, but it's definitely a unification fight, right? They're trying to call it undisputed, but it's not, but almost, right? And Lomachenko's supposed to be, one of the top 1, 2, or 3 in boxing, fighting Teofimo Lopez, who is supposed to be all that. And Teofimo Lopez gonna get what your boy Gary Russell wants for Devin Haney, which means Devin Haney's profile has to be pretty high when you're going to fight somebody. If he was unknown, you wasn't gonna be asked for $2 million in the middle of a pandemic. The same with Teofimo Lopez is getting, and if he's getting that, because he was getting 1.5 and wanted more. So it's around in that area. So I'm just telling you that just kind of just do your math. This is right up in the same area. Somebody gonna say, "Well, I'm fighting Devin Haney." He didn't say, "Hey man, give me 250,000. I'll beat up Devin Haney tomorrow. Give me 500." No, give me something that's worth of just in case I win this one, right? Because this is not gonna be easy. You know what I'm saying? So in the pandemic as well. So those are just signs to know what this Devin Haney guy. People kind of know what time it is when it's up to Devin Haney. And so you give people points. People try to act like, this is normal. But this is a phenom. Devin Haney is a phenom. That's why he's going to move up. He moves up my pound for pound list for sure. I don't have one really right now, but I could probably go off the top. These fighters, things like that should be a normal pound for pound list. When you see things that people don't want to fight this guy and this and that, then why would you want to put the guys that don't want to fight these guys? And I'm not just saying any guy. We're talking about champions, right? That don't want to fight other champions. The champions that don't want to fight the other champions shouldn't be in front of the champions that they don't want to fight. It's getting confusing now, isn't it? Bottom line is, somebody better pay attention to Devin Haney on the pound list. And they'll just let all this stuff happen, and we see people that don't want to fight him, right? And he's having problems kind of getting the fights that he should get, but we'll say that we won't move him up the pound list. That's everybody. When you see the pound list and Devin Haney's name ain't he's supposed to be peeking in there because we see people that ain't trying to get with him. Now, of course, you go lose the fight to Gary Russell Jr. or lose another fight, then it's different. But right now, you're looking at people that ain't people not wanting to fight, the significance of it. Then Devin Haney's somebody you're going to just have to watch in terms of pound for pound now. Even if, like Teofimo wins that fight and gets a franchise belt and then don't want to fight Devin Haney. Especially then. You know what I mean? So be careful. People are not going to be wanting to fight this guy. It's kind of getting weird. Keep your eye on that. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.